hear me? Yes, thank you. All right, welcome, good evening. Thank you all for coming. Welcome to those watching online. Those of you that are seated here in the auditorium and you checked in outside, you are good to go. You are counted for attendance. This is just your reminder, if you are watching the recorded video or live stream online, you must complete the Google form so that we have your attendance counted, right? So in order to get your cap and gown on June 11th, you either need to be present here tonight or the Google form. I sent it out in an email today. I'll resend it out again tomorrow, and it's on the Student Activities website. So first, I'd like to introduce Dr. Burns. Our head principal here has got a few words to say to welcome you all this evening.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody at home. All right, for how many of you this is the first child graduating? Okay. How many for you it's the last child graduating? All right, wait a minute, those hands went up way too fast for some of you. The hands went up way too fast. All right. My recommendation to you is enjoy the moment. It's a special time. When I went through this with my own children, the process was different for each of them. Their journey was different. But the idea that they were finishing this phase, their educational journey is special. I just remind you to keep that in mind. There'll be a lot of stress. There'll be a lot going on, the family, the parties, the drama. But remember the moment, for what it is, that you have a child finishing high school, and 13 years of, primary education before they head out to their next journey. My main thing that I'm here to talk about is basically we need to finish the journey academically. We can't forget about that. We can't lose sight of it. So your students have to finish all of their courses and the exams, to make sure that they are eligible to walk at graduation. That's what we're working on constantly. Ms. Roskop's meeting with students, I'm meeting with students. We want to make sure we get there. For the graduation part itself, be it the practices sessions, when they're scheduled, students need to be attentive and listen to directions. And if that happens, we get done faster, they get to leave, and be ready for the actual ceremony. Ceremony itself will be beautiful at Temple. It's inside, so the weather doesn't matter. Last year, we added a special new feature. They have a display board at center court, basically, that your child will appear there as they walk across the stage. Possibly when they get their diploma, we have to make sure that gets worked out. But you could try to take pictures, so you could engineer certain family members to do certain jobs. But if somebody does that as a job, then you would have a picture of what is appearing on the video screen. It is an extra nice little feature, and the cameras are focused more on the stage. I don't like necessarily that it'll be focused more on me this year. I don't like that, but it is what it is. I have a face for radio, not necessarily the big screen. All right, that's it for me. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Coffey for the ceremony-related details.
Thank you so much. For those of you who don't know who I am Beth Coffey, who I send you tons of emails. This is my first year as a Student Activities Coordinator. I'm also a Spanish teacher here at West. But I'm going to introduce the two class advisors, Ms. Katina Anthony and Ms. Taylor Grez, just before we get started into the graduation side of things. They're going to talk about the upcoming events for the senior class that are optional, but really fun to be involved with. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Katina Anthony. I'm Taylor Grez. We are the class advisors for your seniors. We follow them up all the way from freshman year until now. So it is kind of bittersweet for us because we saw them, as little freshmen coming in here in freshman orientation to graduating seniors, which is awesome, scary, but in the end, like Dr. Rick said, just enjoy the journey and enjoy the time that you have left with them as high school students. Our first event, senior prom, is Thursday, May 30th. It is from 7 to 10 p.m. at Collinswood Ballroom. places in the school right now. Outside of Jones Gym, we are both PE teachers, so that's like our home base. They are in student activities, and they are by the main office. These sheets also got emailed home to you, and they are on the Google Classroom. So again, the kids have access to these everywhere. We are selling tickets May 8th through the 16th. We'll sell them outside of Jones Lobby. They're $85 a ticket, cash or check only. If they are making, if they're doing a check, it'll be made out to Cherry Hill West. When they get their tickets, they need these forms completed with their money. We won't take money without form. It just makes it really, really confusing when we're numbering tickets off and things like that. So they must have their payment with them and their signed forms in order to get the ticket and go through with the process. On this packet, everything's in here. The front side is for them, the person buying the ticket, to fill out. The second sheet, the back reverse side of this, is if it is a guest from West, they have to fill it out. If it is a guest from another school, they also fill it out in here. If it's from another school, they would just get a principal or someone like that at the school to sign it on their behalf to say that they are eligible, they are in good standing to attend another high school's prom. We never, knock on wood, we've never really had too many issues with this. The kids are generally good and they, follow the rules of this. For prom.
One more thing with prom. So they have to stay in school till 10:30, okay? So where all those three places where the kids can find the prom info form, there's also a form, just like a worksheet of how to do the Google form beforehand, so that they're not texting you at 10:15 to do their 10:30 dismissal, right? I'm sure you guys get those texts all day long. So that info is also right next to that info sheet. Tell them to grab both, because the second one will help you. Yeah, do it tonight when you get home. Yeah, you can do it now and have it done and not worry about it, but they have to be in school till 10:30. We can't let them into the prom if they were absent.
A couple just little things with prom. It is, like I said, from 7 to 10 at Collingswood Ballroom. Obviously, all school rules apply, for every other dance that they've been to ever. The rules remain the same. There's a breathalyzer, passive breathalyzer sensor at the door. They know that from, if they went to junior prom or others, but if this is their first event, they will be breathalyzed at the door just to keep it safe for everyone. They can leave, so it's from 7 to 10. They can leave at 9:30. After, obviously, it starts at 7. Sometimes they're late for pictures, promenade, things like that. Usually around 7:15, 7:30, stretching to 7:05. If they're not there, we will call home to see where they are. We will call you. When we do the ticketing information, they give us a parent guardian's name and a parent guardian's contact information, so we can call you if they are not in attendance. Because at the end of the day, they are kids, and they say they're going to prom and they are not attending prom. That can be an issue. Usually, and again, we just had junior prom a couple weeks ago. Every single student that bought a ticket was in attendance for junior prom, which was awesome. Okay, we anticipate the same exact thing. I think we may have had one student last year not attend because they had an emergency or something. And when they are buying tickets, if they have some sort of game or event or something that they may be running late to, we can take note of that and just have that on our radar. But again, typically it doesn't happen, especially this late in the year for senior prom. Oh, yes, and when they're buying tickets, if they have any sort of dietary restriction, whether it's religious or just a food allergy, they should let us know, because then we can give them a special meal at the prom so they're able to eat. Other than that, all the information for our prom is going to be on Google Classroom, going to be online. Again, it's pretty standard. Senior Sunset is, we did one at the beginning of the year, Senior Sunrise. Obviously, they all came to the stadium, watched the sunrise together, and kind of kicked off their senior year. Now, here we are, June 13th. It will be at night at 7, starting at 7:30 at the stadium. So they'll come, they came in, in the fall with their blankets and stuff like that. They can sit, watch the sun go down. It's the night before graduation, take pictures with their friends and things of that nature. It was really, really nice. We had a really good turnout in the fall. And like I said, at the end of the year, we anticipate a really nice turnout for Senior Sunset as well. The students know about this, and they'll come up with their speakers and their lawn chairs and their bikes. So it'll be sad, but nice. And senior picnic, And cap and gown, so cap and gown is going to be distributed from like 1 to 3-ish. Usually they come right away, they just pick up their packet, they say their last name, they get it, and they will come out to the senior picnic on June 11th, which will also be at the stadium. We have water ice, a food truck, everything. We have yard games like spike ball, cornhole. They'll have like a speaker for music, and again, it's just an opportunity for them to hang out, sign yearbooks. If they bring them with them, they can have friends and whoever sign yearbooks, and it's just another kind of end of the year type thing we do, and it's really, obviously wrapping up their time with some of their peers they've been with for a really long time. Yes. So again, it's a really nice opportunity, and a lot of teachers in the community will come to the promenade and not make their way over to the ballroom, so it's kind of nice if, your kid or you, it's better for parents, grandparents, siblings to see that than as opposed to we had a good turnout with it last year, I feel like. Yeah, it was nice. So. More information will come out about that too. That's really the juniors, but they'll be made aware of that. We'll put, the junior class will make like a flyer and post it all over social media and stuff like that. Oh, another question.
I just want to make sure that in the packet it says that the prom is until 11. It's 10?
It's 10, yeah, 7 to 10. Yeah, that was a typo, and then we printed out a ton of these, so, but yeah, 7 to 10.
Okay,
7 to 10.
thank you.
Yep. Yeah, they always want to leave anyway, unfortunately. We're going to try to stay on with this thing. All right.
And just to speak on behalf of the promenade too, it really is a great community event. We often have times when families come with their little kids to see, the guys and girls all dressed up, all fancy for the evening. So it is really nice. Cone Ice will be there. It's a nice hot day in June or May 30th. They'll be there also. So the next things I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about caps and gowns, attire for graduation, tickets for graduation, and just the senior calendar in general. And the only mistake I caught that I did make was the senior prom 7 to 10. So thank you for pointing that out also. But as I look at it the 3rd time, 5th time through, that's my only mistake I saw. Caps and gowns. So caps and gowns are currently sitting in my office in tons of boxes, ready to go. We'll start organizing them. Many of you have reached out asking about, I don't remember doing a size. Back in August, when you signed on to Genesis to get your schedule for the senior year, you filled out a form that had all the graduation requirements. They kind of snuck that in on us, which is wonderful, so we're not chasing people down for height and weight. So that's where we got the sizes from, so they're tailored to your students and they will fit them the way it is. East and West, we have all changed over to one uniform color. We will be all purple with white accent, and East will be red with white accent. That's a universal decision amongst both schools for a variety of reasons, but just to create a little bit more uniformity. The past years we've done choosing colors, and that actually makes it a little bit more complicated and harder to organize. So both schools will be going towards just the one color, so we will be purple and white this year at graduation. If you go to the second page of the packet where it speaks about the attire, this is, again, not as important when it comes to, now that we're not in white gowns. The white gowns used to be pretty see-through, so you had to be more specific about what you wore underneath. This year, we're just asking, as we typically do, to be in a nice, dressy, casual fashion. No jeans, no sneakers, dresses, skirts, blouses. There's no need for handbags or backpacks. Once they go into the original room they start out in, they don't really ever go back there, and there's no room to bring extra things. Many students do have their cell phones on them somewhere tucked away, but bags and backpacks, we don't need to be bringing them. And yeah, we can't have them. Yeah, they can't bring them out to the ceremony, and they can't get back to the room that they start out in. And we exit out of there pretty quickly, especially since we are the morning graduation. East is quickly coming to flip it around. They do an entire different seat formation, so the chairs that the students are sitting in are all moved. So it's a quick transition between our graduation and theirs. Just be aware for those that want to wear high heels, don't. No one wants to be the one that fell on the stage in front of everybody. Be like my nightmare. I read names last year, and every time I got up, I got nervous. All eyes are on you, and now you're on the Jumbotron, because we're recording the whole thing. So, my suggestion is just don't. Wear something you're comfortable in. No one sees them in the purple gowns anyways. Maybe have them for later if you get pictures taken at the stadium or with your friends. Slip on some heels. But I don't want to see anyone do that. So The stairs are tricky. Yeah, there's stairs up, there's stairs down. They're like the stairs with kind of like a holes in them. I just went into it. Trying to see these shorts. On June 11th, when they get their cap and gowns, they will also be getting any stoles or cords that have been awarded to them due to clubs that they are in. Wear them as they're supposed to be worn, right? They have a specific way that way we can identify, who's a part of what club, who got special recognition, and only wear the ones that are assigned to you from the clubs from West. Just go like Amazon, tons of cords so you look really decorated. But wear the ones that are afforded to you from your club, and wear them the way they're supposed to be. No, special knotting of the cords. This gets asked every year. We are not allowed to decorate the caps of our graduation gowns. That comes from above us. That is from our superintendent. I've been here 8 years, and they've never been allowed to be decorated. Every year it gets brought up. I understand the excitement of it. I'm very artsy-fartsy. I would love to decorate my cap. But it's just the rules of what it is. We are 300 some, East is 500 some. That's a lot of students to monitor what is on there, and we can't. I don't want to be in control of that. So that comes from above us. That's Dr. Moring. If someone shows up with a cap that is decorated, we have extras, so we'll just switch it out, and we'll give you back your decorated cap when the ceremony's over. So just know it would be, again, Amazon a cap and decorate it and keep it in your room. You can say you took it there. But at the end, you get to keep your cap and your gown. The students will toss their caps at the end, and they'll probably pick up somebody else's, is my guess. They're never going to find the same exact one. And that's another reason why it would be impossible in that large gymnasium to find your exact cap that you spent lots of time on. There's specific directions about how to wear your tassel. Make sure I suggest you kind of read through that. When students get their cap and gown on June 11th, we encourage them to do it then, or maybe when they're at home, try it on. Take it out of the bag, let it air out a little bit. We don't recommend ironing them. The material is not iron friendly, but I would suggest let it hang a little bit. We steam it. I've never done that before, but something to get the wrinkles out if you would like, but try it on. If by chance you grew a lot from August, we will have extras where we can get you the right size, and if not, we can overnight it. But if you ask me the morning of, I can't guarantee it. So try it on the 11th. That gives us plenty of days to get you one that fits you. Even last year, one had imperfection. We just switched it out right there and then. So just let us know if that's the case. So that is for attire. The other question that I get lots of, and I provided for you a nice page with a QR code. I'll also put in an email tomorrow when I send out the Google Form link for anyone watching online. Every student in their bag on June 11th will get 10 tickets. Already printing them and starting to count them out. We've got 39 days left until graduation. Everyone will get 10. If you need less than 10, okay, that's fine. You have extras. You want to give them to a friend or throw them in the trash. If you need more than 10, you need to let us know. We will add them to the bag. So if you could let us know before May 31st, then we'll get those in the bag, counted out, ready for you. There's also on that Google form, if you're going to need someone that's going to need to get in first and early for special assistance, whether you have a walker, a wheelchair, you need to let us know too. You would get a special ticket that will get you early access. There isn't any special seating, correct? Right, you don't have to. So there is special seating, but you don't have to sit in it. If you would still like to sit with your family members, it would just get you early access so that you can find a space that's suitable for whatever needs you have. So that would also be, like I said, in this Google form. But if you only need 10, don't fill out the Google form. Okay. So you get your actual diploma after the ceremony. When you turn, you can go into, there's a room, I forget what it's called, the Fox Giddis room. That's where they'll turn it in. They don't turn in their cap and gowns, but they'll still go get their diploma. If by chance you don't feel like going back to that room to get the diploma that evening, you can also pick it up in guidance. Right? Guidance would also have it. So if you've got dinner reservations or lunch reservations, feel free to go there. You'll still get a diploma if you don't pick it up. We won't throw it away. It'll stay at Cherry Hill West until you pick it up. So that's kind of the option you have. And also, like I said, it gets a little crazy at the end with all the Leah Center, and us having to get out of there. There are certain stoles, I believe NHS, I'm trying to think if there's any other ones off the top of my head, where they will have to return their stoles. They can't get their diploma until they return their stoles. I don't think it's anything besides NHS. Yeah, I don't remember. But that may also, most of the cords they get to keep, but if they need to return a stole. The last thing that I'll speak about is just the calendar leading up to the end of the year. May is packed. There's lots of events you can look out for. Senior prom tickets are the main thing. Those go on sale in 2 days. I recommend many kids wait to the end. I would get it done right away. It just makes it easier. There's less of a line. That way you can make sure all the forms are done and ready. The Hall of Fame Assembly, we are in the process of picking out our class of 2024 Hall of Fame inductees. It is a ceremony that happens during the day. All the senior class will come into the auditorium where we will announce this year's inductees. We will be live streaming it this year, which I'll also send that link out. So if you would like to watch from home or at work, you're more than welcome to do so. It's an exciting event. It's quite an honor for those that get inducted. So that will be also live streamed this year. I don't believe it was last year. It was a live stream last year. Prom, we mentioned, promenade. The mandatory project graduation chaperone meeting is at 7 on June 5th. There's a scholarship ceremony on June 10th. The main thing I want to say is the practices on June 12th and 13th. The 12th, they will be after the final exams. We'll start right away at 1. 4 is the latest we will go. That depends solely on how quickly everyone gets to the practice and how well behaved or how well everyone cooperates. It's a very easy, we work on our processions. We like to look really pretty when we stand up together, when we sit together. But it takes the focus of everyone. So are we hoping we're done before 4? Absolutely. But we won't leave until we're sure we're gonna look good on June 14th for everybody. The next practice is June 13th. It's in the morning at 8 o'clock. This one's a little trickier for them because they haven't really been getting up for finals. So 8 o'clock is a hard deadline because the clap out is at 10:30. It's close. Our goal is as soon as they are done that graduation practice, they can head right out to the clap out. But graduation has to happen first. We are that first graduation at 11 o'clock on the 14th. So make sure you tell your students, be there on time, sit, listen. Like, don't go to Starbucks first. Nothing's worse when people show up late and they've got the Dunkin' Donuts in their hand. And we know why they were late. So it happened last year. I'll never forget it.
I just had a question about the clap out. They have to wear caps and gowns to the elementary school, correct?
Yes.
So they'll be getting that.
Correct. That's why we came out the 11th. Yeah.
Okay.
I got 2 days prior before it. Yeah, one of the main things, and there's something that I'll be sending out to those that are reading names soon. So we work really, really hard. As I said, I read names last year, so I can attest to this. We work really, really hard to get name pronunciation right. Oh yeah, Dr. Burns too, we were in that one together. We work really, really hard to make sure the names are pronounced right. That is a really special moment for you, for your students, for your family, and we want to make sure that we get it right. We spend a lot of time practicing that first practice on getting the name pronunciation right, and then we make sure that we nailed it on that morning practice. I will be sending out to all seniors into their, I haven't decided if it's English or health class, something that they all have. It's going to be a formative, where they have the option to record their name ahead of time, so those that are reading names can listen back over and over again. I did that when I practiced last year. For the first practice, I voice memoed a couple kids that I was a little nervous about and I didn't want to get wrong. And then we went to a weekend, and all weekend long I just played it on repeat, just to make sure I got it right. And so I'm gonna provide ahead of time students a chance to record their names nice and slow, that when Miss Anthony's up there reading names, you have to convince Miss Gretz, that she gets it right. So that's really important to us. So that's super helpful that day if they know they can be patient, explain it really well, write it out phonetically, voice memo it to us, because you've got teachers who are excited to do the names this year. We just want to make sure we get it right. But yes, that is a major part of what takes a little bit longer. Yeah. you do have access to those, I believe it's floors, yes? And there is a way, I will find out, I'll email, if I can get the link, I'll email it out to everyone. But yes, that is the whole point, is that they can have pictures of that moment up close and personal. Oh, and then from our central office, Barb Wilson also has a video that she has of the event also. Yeah, and I'll see if I can get that link, I'll send them out both together after graduation. Yeah, Mr. Fox?
June 11th, is the picnic at the stadium after the cap and gown?
Yeah, so cap and gown will be there the entire time. We are set up like while finals are going on that day, so we can't give out before finals end, per my boss. So as soon as finals are over, we will start taking people for cap and gown, and then we recommend they go just right down to the stadium and start like hanging out and celebrating. It's kind of more of a loose timeline for the senior picnic. It's like when kids get down there, but like we said, there's water ice, there's a food truck, there's games. They always have a really nice, even last year we had to bring it inside because of the rain, and they still lingered for a good amount of time. Just because I know these moments, there's not many of them left, so they just really enjoy being together. One last thing that I'm passing over is obligations, and I know Ms. Roskoph is going to speak to this, and they're outside with obligations now. Something that's really important, if you're cleared for obligations today, that's awesome. It's not guaranteed that you're cleared for obligations come prom. Obligations are coming in constantly from teachers, whether the library teachers, if the book has not been returned, that would be an obligation. So I'm working on, it's not finalized yet, making that there is a way that you can check your obligation online where you put in your student ID number and it will tell you what your obligation is. As soon as that's ready, I will have that out to you. But in the meantime, they can check with my secretary, Donna Takis, at any time if they owe anything. But like I said, they may be good for prom tickets this week, but come cap and gown, they may have a book that they forgot to return to the library and owe $8 on. So just be aware that obligations are constantly changing, but for prom ticket and to pick up your cap and gown, they have to be completely settled. You can't owe us any more money. Right? That's not good? All right, so just continually, because nothing's worse when they're excited to get their cap and gown, their friends get them, they get their whole pile of balloons people bought for them, then someone has to go find a book in the trunk of their car. So just try to take care of them beforehand. They can do that at any time from now until graduation. TKACZ. It's tricky. And I'm EY. Yes. It depends on when it is. If it's to this point, they could give it to the teacher. If it's last minute, they would give it to us. And we would cross it off as an obligation. Yeah, tear up that little yellow card we have. Yeah, Dr. Burns, just one thing.
So one thing we have to understand is that at Temple, once the graduation ceremony ends, the Temple staff is going to be very directive about not allowing anyone onto the floor. That's a safety concern as they are starting to swap out. So there will not be any pictures allowed or anything. They will get a little feisty, but they want you to understand that you will not get onto the floor. So please kind of have that expectation now and just have that understanding, because it does take time to switch out the graduations, and they're going to be ushering you and kind of directing you which way to go to be able to collect the graduates.
Great, thank you. Yes. No. This is due to not because Mr. Gorlick is phenomenal. He sets up all of our live streams. And when we home the house things here, it's easy for us to do it. Temple is very picky about who works their tech. And so that would be, we signed contracts with them for a year of what they offer. We added in the Jumbotron and the video. It's a very large cost to add in live stream. So at this point, in this current contract, we don't have it. And they won't let us bring in our own people to do it. Any other questions before I hand it off to Ms. Roskoph? Yes. Yeah, about 2 hours. Yeah, hour and a half, 2 hours. We do have, about 5 students who speak during it to give a nice personal touch, but yes, so we do every year, a tradition at West is, which does lengthen the ceremony a little bit, but for many students and for many staff, it is their favorite part, is when the students procession in to the court. The teachers are lined up around and they get to give like one final goodbye to their teachers as they go by. Something that is amazing about West, and I've been in a couple of things with students recently, and this is what they talk about every single time, is one of the best things about West is their relationships that they have with teachers and how much they trust them and the community that it is. That's a special moment that we have at West that we don't see leaving any time in the future. Does it take a little bit longer for them to get in? It does. Is it a memory that you have with like your favorite teachers, teachers that had an impact on you, students that like made you want to come to work every day? It does. So that is part of our beginning of our ceremony. So you'll see that when you come in or in the morning. So every teacher will be there at that ceremony. Yeah. They do make that request. Do people still cheer? Absolutely. But that is something to take note of, right? People are there to hear their kids' names. There's cheering for your kid is super special. But no, like, not having it overshadow the next kid is also really, really important. We do specifically try to, we keep a pattern in our name calling, but we are also aware of when a cheer is dying down. But we do ask that you be considerate of that, because that allows us to keep, well, not me anymore, keep the ceremony moving. First come, first serve. Yeah, there's no assign. There's like, that's why anyone can, when we always talk about where we have the ceremony, one of the major reasons why we have it where we have it, you can have unlimited tickets, which is really special. If we were to have it here and it got rained out, you'd get 2 tickets to graduation. It's a big difference when you can, I've had kids already in my office, they're like, so like, really, I can have as many as I want? I'm like, as many as you want. They're like 15 to 20 extra? Yep, bring them all. They're usually the ones with the loud applause. Yeah, but yes. Yeah. I'm back, yes, sorry.
I may have missed it. There is a graduation video or no? I know it's not being live.
Yes, so from the central office, Barb Wilson, HR, public information, that's what it is. They have a video that we will be able to send out for afterwards. So although we cannot live stream it, you can have access to it after the event.
One thing you want to do is your students start to tell you where they will be sitting in the space. They'll be able to tell you, well, if you look at the stage, I'm on this side, and then you'll be able to position yourself so that you're close to your graduate. So you kind of have to work that out with them ahead of time so that you'll know, and then you'll be appropriately seated. That way you can be as close as you're able to. But knowing, looking at the stage, are they on the left, are they on the right, are they in the middle of the group of students, are they in the front or the back, and then you'll know when you walk in the venue how you want to position yourself.
Yeah, well, that's why we purposely do the rehearsal in the theater, because it mirrors our same setup. So they'll be able to tell from where they're sitting from our practices on those 2 days. Yeah. For the most part, yes. Sometimes we might have to move people for access points, but for the most part, they are alphabetical. I believe it says it in here. I believe it's an hour beforehand. So 10 a.m. Yeah, if you have handicap accessible, about 10 minutes before is when they'll open the doors to get in. Yeah. So Ada, I would love for them. Is anyone from Project Graduation in here to speak on its behalf? I won't do it justice. That's why I'm afraid to. You want to try? About Project Graduation, just a little bit more specific. I'll see if I can I'll go run out and see if I can gather someone and we'll have them speak at the end to give a little bit more extra details for you. I'm gonna.
Yeah, they'll come in and
right, for a ticket? Right, so I believe if you buy a ticket before, I have so many dates in my head, it's June 7th. If you buy your project graduation ticket for $20 before June 7th, when you get there, you get a $20 Amazon gift card. So essentially you're going for free, right, if you kind of buy the ticket early for it. It's kind of a nice incentive so that they know like numbers that are coming and preparing for it. But like I said, I'll see if we have more questions about it, I'll see if we can figure that out. Yeah. Correct. We will provide a bus back, correct? No, we don't at all. Oh, you graduated. We're done. It's been real. Thank you for coming.
I used to tell kids the subway is right outside.
That is true. You can find your way home on the Patco. But yes, no, we provide, everyone must ride the bus. They have to be at the school. We leave at 8:15. They need to be at school at 8 a.m. on the morning of graduation. We take attendance. We make sure everyone's here. And then we shuttle on over. We go take our big group picture all together. And then we start getting ourselves in line and in order. But yes, then you take them. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Roskoph. She's got the nitty-gritty details about how to make it to graduation. And then,
Good evening, everyone. I'm Carole Roskoph. I'm the assistant principal for 12th grade. Usually, this is the first year I've done it, this part of it. Usually I done the other part. Just a couple of things I do want to remind you of. When you come up to the Leocore Center, there will be all kinds of vendors outside trying to sell you stuff. The main thing they will be trying to sell you are flowers, which are fine, and balloons, which are not fine. Because if you buy balloons from the vendors outside the Leocore Center, the Leocore staff will not allow you to bring them in. Okay? So flowers, I think they might sell little teddy bears, all that kind of stuff. If you want to purchase is fine. Please do not buy balloons because you will not be allowed to bring them in. All right? The other thing that Ms. Coffey didn't tell you about is you will, in addition to your graduation tickets, you will get 3 parking passes. We can give you unlimited tickets to the graduation. We do not control the number of parking passes that you get. That is controlled by the Leocore Center. Right? So we can only give you 3. You will have a map of where you can park. You can, of course, park in the garage, and because we're the first graduation, you won't have any problems probably with parking in the garage. When we're the second, it gets a little tricky. And there are other lots close by the Leocore Center that you can also park in. Is it still $12, Dr. Burns? It's $12 with the pass, with the parking pass. Now, if you want to park further away, you can park further away, and you can park for less than $12. It's just a matter if you have people who can walk. If you have family members who need to be dropped off at the Leocore, you can pull up, drop them off, and they can go in at that 10-minute before everybody else comes. Okay. I just want to talk to you about, I was all excited last week because I thought we had like 20-some days of school left. And then on Friday, Dr. Burns sent out his weekly update that said we had 6 weeks. And 6 weeks sounds so much worse than 20-some days, and it got me all messed up. So we have about 6 weeks of school left. And in that 6 weeks, the expectation is that your students are still doing what they're supposed to do. They're still coming to school, attendance is still being taken. They're coming to school on time. They're going to their classes, and they're doing the required assignments that the teachers are asking them to do. We are meeting with families for today. We had some today for students who may not be able to participate in graduation because of grades or attendance. That will happen right up to the very end. That will happen right up to June 13th. So please remind your students that there are still expectations. I know in their mind, they're like me, they turned it off unless they read Dr. Burns' update and they had to turn it back on. But we are still here for them to be educated. It's still possible if they do something that's really egregious, they would have to be formal. That Dr. Burns could take want to talk about obligations. Obligations are the bane of my existence, right? Because, again, as Ms. Coffey has said, when they buy their prom tickets, they will clear obligations if they have any. Then, in the meantime, teachers are turning in obligation cards. Obligations can be for books, athletic uniforms, music gowns, ROTC uniforms, anything that belongs to the school that the student has to turn in can be an obligation. Obligations, especially during final exams, get turned in every single day. So your student may think they don't have any obligations and something got turned in even right up to the day that they are picking on the 11th. The morning of the 11th, they can get an obligation turned in. We will not give them their cap and gown until they have cleared all of their obligations. That could be as simple as Ms. Coffey said, going to the trunk of their car, which is usually what happens, and the book is in the trunk of the car. Or we'll show them the book card and they'll say, oh, well that's under my bed, right? Go home and get it and come back. And they usually do. Some of them are a little more complicated than that. So the way they can clear the obligation, they can turn the item in, they can pay for it, right? They can purchase one, if it's a book especially, they can purchase the book and give us the book, right? So please make sure that your students are checking their obligations. If we get the online piece set up, that'll be great. If not, I usually say to them, you go into Ms. Tackus every single day and ask her if they have any obligations, and they can clear them up immediately. I can tell you 90% of the time, the student knows where the obligation item is. Okay, I don't understand why they don't just turn it in, but they just don't turn it in. The question came up, where do they turn it in? If the teacher still has the card, or the coach or whoever still has the card, they will turn it in directly to that person. If the card has been turned in already, then they would turn it in to Ms. Tackus. Okay, but please, and students who are here, I say this every year, and I'm going to say it again, and students watching at home. The teacher is going to say to you, you're going to say, I have my book, and the teacher's going to say, all right, just leave it on the desk, and I'll tear up your card later. Your answer is, respectfully, nope, not doing that. Because what happens is, you leave that book on the desk, the teacher gets busy, forgets to tear up the card gets turned in, now you have an obligation for a book that you turned in. So what I'm going to say to you is, when you try to turn in and say, oh no, I know I turned that in, go find the teacher. And have them call me or write me a note that says you turned it in. Well, guess what? It is final exams, and teachers are nowhere in the building to be found. Okay? So now it becomes a problem. So I'm students, please, when the teacher says, leave it on the desk, your answer is, Ms. Roskoph told me I could not do that. And if the teacher says, oh no, it's all right, you say, you have to call Ms. Roskoph and tell her that. I guarantee you they're not going to call me and tell me that. All right? Because at the faculty meeting, I've had the same conversation with them. Do not tell kids to leave a book or what an item that you can't give them the book card for. You make a time for that student to come back, and you make sure that they get the book card. It is as much their responsibility as it is your responsibility. Yes, sir. But if we try to get them in as early as we can. But if you're taking a final exam on the 11th and you want to keep your book to study for your exam, we don't want to collect that book from you. So a lot of teachers will have them turn them in on the day of the exam. And while the kids are taking the exam, they'll go around and get the book card. Okay? So we try to get them in as early as we can, but we can't guarantee it. Yes? Chromebooks will have to be turned in as well. That could be an obligation. I would say they could turn those in before final exams, but I don't know if they're going to have things that they're going to have to use the board. Right? They would turn those Chromebooks into existing exams at the time. All right. Any other questions about that? Again, we want to have a great school year. It is my favorite
yeah, if you have any other questions, or if you were, listening at home or watching the recorded, and maybe you couldn't hear one of our questions, feel free to shoot me the email. I try to get back as quickly as possible. So if there's a question that you couldn't hear that you still have after just watching at home, feel free to ask me the question. Just for time's sake, so we can let people go and get on with their evenings. If you have a question for any of us, we'll be here, or for project graduation, they are still outside. You can get your lawn signs, project graduation, any of that information. Thank you so much for coming out. See you June 14th.